Welcome to the Weekly Fix podcast, where we're just two friends talking about our passions within movies, TV shows, gaming, and comics. Thanks for checking out the podcast. We hope you like it.
Yeah, I think this is a contender for probably one of the best entertainment years we've had in quite some time.
Hello, and welcome to the first full week in April. I'm Zane. Join with me is my good friend Jacob. We're going to be hosting Weekly Fix this week, as always. We have a fun episode planned for you guys. We had another episode of Daredevil drop, which did progress the story quite a bit, and we're excited to talk about that. We didn't have much else watching this week, but we do have our April rundown for you guys. We didn't drop that last week because of the massive casting announcement for Marvel, so we wanted to get that to you guys this week to let you know what's coming this month. And it's honestly kind of a sleeper month, a massive month coming for us. So I'm excited to see if anyone's excited for the stuff that we're going to be watching this month and for the next few months as these shows progress over the weeks. But before we hop into all of that, Jacob, how was your weekend?
It was great, man. It's been a fun week in gaming again. We had the drop of Verdansk and Call of Duty Warzone, so it's been fun to hop back into that, kind of relive some of those moments that we had. Man, it's been years ago now at this point, I guess, since Verdansk was like the map in Call of Duty. So that's been a lot of fun. But yeah, it's been nice also having a little bit of a break from some shows because we had such a jam-packed last couple months with Reacher, Invincible. Obviously, we still have Daredevil going on, but it was nice to have a week that we didn't have too much to watch.
Yeah, especially with the basketball tournament going on last week. That was very nice. I got to watch the Final Four on Saturday, which was incredible. Two amazing games, spectacular comebacks. Just such good high quality basketball in the college era. Like I know a lot of people sleep on college basketball because it's not as skilled as the NBA. But honestly, dude, these kids are so good right now. It's wild.
Yeah, I think that's like the whole debate for me when people are talking about we always bring up the greatest of all time argument. I think basketball players and really just about any athletes in this era, I think it's going to get to the point where they're all just better than what, the past has been because there's just so much more advanced technology that goes into it. Some of these kids are playing year round nowadays and it's wild. So yeah, I think eventually we're going to get to the point where I think a lot of these college players are as if some of them are already NBA ready. I think a large majority are going to get to that point at some point.
Yeah, it's kind of like chess. Like the bags are getting discovered by the older generation. And so the newer generation doesn't have to discover that skill set, doesn't have to go through the pain that the old generation did to get there. They can learn from the failures and not have to experience them so they can grow faster. And so just like today, an average chess player would be the greatest chess player in the world 200 years ago.
Yep.
It's like the same thing with basketball. We're just getting to there. It's just been a little slower progression.
Yeah, which is awesome. It makes this for better entertainment, and it's a lot more fun to watch when everybody's actually good, and you don't have these players that are getting like picked out on defense and offense and stuff like that. So it makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, well, very very true. Although, man, some of the refereeing has been rough to watch. Dude, as a ref, I'm like, oh, this is embarrassing. Pretty challenging, but no, it's been good. Like you said, a little slow week. I did get to start House of David, which is the Amazon Prime series on the life of David, kind of the entry point to his kingship. Only one episode in, but so far fairly good. Visuals were nice. It did give like small scale vibes, but it wasn't small scale picture for that. It looked good. It seemed like a smaller production, but so far so good. I'm excited. I heard some good reviews from some other people I trust, so we're finally having time to watch that. So I'm excited to finish that, and it just finished up last week. So if you have already finished that show, let me know what you thought while I'm watching it, and we'll let you know at the end of it what we think.
I think it's also really nice though, you mentioned it kind of feels like a smaller scale thing. I think that's such a good thing in today's society though, that we still do get those projects that they don't have to be bad because they had a smaller budget and stuff like that. So it's like awesome when you do find something that might not have had the biggest budget put into it, but the people that put it together, the producers, the actors, they all spend a lot of time making it as good as it could possibly be. So I think that's such a thing that's still needed in today because we see how crazy these budgets for shows and movies get nowadays. It's always refreshing to see a show that might not have had that much money put into it, but it's still a really great watch.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm enjoying it just because of the subject matter. Anything that's handled well that's based off of the Bible, I'm gonna enjoy probably. So that's been nice.
What they have some great source material.
Yeah, the best source material of all time. Uh,
Yeah.
the greatest library ever composed. So, um, anyway, let's hop into this rundown. We have kind of a sleeper. April's kind of generally not the best for movies and shows, as most people are like trying to hold out for that May release. But I think this month we have like quite a few good things dropping. And the first one that I want to talk about that's dropping this upcoming weekend is Warfare. Now, this is the new Joseph Quinn, Will Poulter, A24 documentary, or not documentary, yeah, maybe documentary, but war movie about a group of Navy SEALs that embark on a dangerous mission in Iraq. This thing looks spectacular. Have you seen the trailers for this? Has this been on your radar at all?
No, I actually haven't, but I think with the cast members, like right off the bat, it kind of gives Fury vibes. I feel like those are actors are getting to that point where like they're really household names. And I kind of think of the reason I bring up Fury is because that like whole cast is just star studded with every actors that everybody knows. And I think it's always cool when we get to see those type of movies depicted in that time era and stuff like that. So that's definitely something I'd be interested in.
Yeah, it's a little bit. They said that this is supposed to be like the most realistic war movie ever produced, especially for like modern day um warfare. It kind of like the previews have made me think of almost a Hurt Locker and American Sniper kind of
Mm-hmm.
mixed. And I'm all about Will Poulter, and I think Joseph Quinn is really coming to his own. So this is one that is on my radar. I don't know if I'll go to the movie to the cinemas to watch it until I hear some reviews, just because we do have so much coming up, and it's just hard to get to the theater nowadays. But it's definitely on my radar, and I really want to check this one out.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Like we love the movie theater so much, but you just mentioned how hard it can be to get to it, and it's really a shame that we don't have the opportunity to just drop everything and go to them sometimes. Because every movie's better in that theater experience. So this is one I would probably enjoy watching in the theaters, but again, it's probably one of those ones I would rather just wait till it gets to streaming because I don't want to have to deal with like finding the time to go there. If I would rather go do some other stuff and wait till those really big movies are dropping for me to go to the theaters. But I think from everything you've said so far, I'm sure it'll be a pretty solid film.
Yeah, A24 has had a pretty good track record. Now
Mhm.
they're not bulletproof, but it's definitely whenever they stick that name to it, we know that there's a little bit higher quality, a little bit better care
Yeah.
taken with the product generally. So excited for that one. Another one coming out this weekend is called The Amateur. Now this one is another star-studded cast. We have um, Rami Malek. Now he is the um actor who plays off of, man, I just lost it. Need for Speed. He is the villain from Need for Speed, and then he's also the lead for Mr. Robot, which is really highly acclaimed. I've never watched it though. And then John Bernthal is a supporting actress with a few other Rachel Brosnahan. So this one is about a when a supervisor for the CIA refuses to act when a man's wife is killed in London during a terrorist attack. One of the CIA agents goes rogue. It's kind of giving me Jason Bourne vibes. Have you? Now I'm guessing you probably haven't heard of this one. It's a little. I didn't hear about it until I did my research for this.
No, this is another one I haven't really heard much about, but I do like the idea behind it. I always love like these type of like action films. I did just look it up and I'm kind of surprised it's only rated PG-13, which this has like rated R written all over it. So I'm kind of interested to see kind of how that gets reviewed and stuff like that, but I think it could be an interesting story.
Yeah, definitely could be interesting. I It's coming out in like kind of a packed weekend, honestly. Which is funny that the second weekend in March is pretty big, but and then the most excited movie for this weekend for me is the King of Kings animated film about the life of Jesus Christ. Now, this one is the story told to his son by Charles Dickens, seen through the child's eyes. And honestly, this thing looks this thing looks super good. Pierce Brosnan, Oscar Isaac, Uma Thurman, Mark Hamill, Forrest Whitaker, Ben Kingsley, and it just keeps going. Like what a star-studded cast, and obviously, once again, we said it before, but the best subject matter we could possibly have. So, do you think you're going to make it out to the theaters to watch this one?
I don't think so. It's just so hard. Really, the only time I get to go to the theaters is for like the big Marvel releases. Randomly I'll go to. Honestly, dude, I don't. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't know the last time I went to the theaters not for a Marvel movie, which is kind of sad. I guess maybe yeah. No, Venom was not. I was gonna say MCU movie, but Venom's still a Marvel property technically. Yeah, so I doubt it. But we did talk about this one. I think a little while back. Maybe it was off. Off the podcast that we mentioned this one. I
I
don't
think we
remember if we
mentioned
were.
it on our year rundown.
Maybe that's what it was. But I love the animation style for it. I think it looks really, really cool. Obviously, it's going to be a great story to be told, a great subject. So I'm excited for that. I love the cast. I think they're all going to really deliver very, very well because I think these guys always do. So yeah, I think this will be a great one. I just don't know that I'll be able to make it to the theaters for it.
Yeah, I actually think I'm going to take my kids to see this one this upcoming week on so not this week but next week after it releases and kind of
Mhm.
see how they do with this one. But I mean, it looks really good.
Yeah, I like I said, I've loved everything I've seen on it. The trailers look great. I really, really, I already talked on it once. I love the animation style. It's kind of unique looking, but it feels like vintage in a way. So I really appreciate that, and I'm excited to see how it does.
It almost feels like a mix between the claymation and
Hmm.
Encanto. Like kind of the
Yeah, I can see what
bubbly
you're saying.
new kind of bubbly new animation, but still kind of almost claymation feel. It's not as polished almost.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, that's this weekend. And then next weekend, I really didn't see anything coming out that I really was interested in, except for the movie Sinners. Now, this one is probably just even by the title, like night and day from the different. But this is a Michael B. Jordan lead and lead movie where trying to leave their troubled behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is awaiting their welcome. Uh, so it seems like this one is going to be very emotional, very racially charged, very difficult, and I'm pretty sure Michael B. Jordan is playing his own twin brother in this.
yeah,
So
I did see the trailer for this one. I think this one looks great. It's obviously got a great director. I believe it's the same director that did Black Panther and Creed, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Um,
Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler, yeah. So I think it's going to be a fantastic movie. I think their track record speaks for itself, and I thought the trailer looked really good. And I love this time setting. Like this period of time is really cool. To kind of watch through a movie and kind of get a little bit of a history lesson-ish kind of from it. So I think this will be a very solid film, and I think this one was one of those ones that will probably review very solidly.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan is phenomenal, and this is just a heartbreaking time period. It's a very fun time period, but it's heartbreaking to kind of know what they had to go through during this time
Mhm.
period. So it's good to document that and to remember it so we don't make the same mistakes moving forward. But probably pretty good, maybe a little rough around the edges. This one looks like a very hard R movie.
Yes,
So
it is not no PG-13 like amateur.
yeah. No, this is a drastic change. So I would be hesitant to watch this one, but it does look good from the trailer, minus the hard R. And then
Yeah, for sure.
the last weekend in April, we have The Accountant 2 dropping. Now, I think we talked about this in our rundown. You did not see the first one, correct?
Mm-mm. No, I have not.
Yeah, The Accountant's such a fun movie. Good. This one's just coming out so much later. It's kind of mind-boggling to me, but honestly, it's gonna be a good watch. Even though it's coming out later, I still think this one's gonna be good. It's just gonna be one of those fun action films. I don't think it's one you need to run to the theater to see, but it's definitely one that's going to be worth a pickup. I'd say. I think it's gonna be a solid 7 when it releases
Yeah,
for me. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, these movies for me, I really do watching at home. Like we always talk about, if you can, you enjoy going to the movie theaters. It's the best way to watch a movie. But I just love watching these movies on my couch. You know, kick back, relax, throw a blanket on or something like that, and just watch these jam-packed action movies. Sometimes it's really fun to just do that with. And this is what that movie screams for me. Maybe I'll have like a weekend where I watch them both. Maybe try to watch them back to back, see how they compare to each other. Something like that. It's one of those things you hope though they're not making a sequel just for the sake of making a sequel, because like you said, it has been a while since we got the last one. You hope it's not one of those cash grab things. But I mean, they did bring back, you know, the big actors and stuff. So I think if they're willing to be a part of it, the story's got to at least be pretty solid.
Yeah, or the paycheck one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, and J.K. Simmons. I mean, how can you go wrong, honestly? So Ben Affleck is fantastic. I know I didn't love his Batman portrayal, but that doesn't take away his acting chops.
For sure.
He is a very solid actor. And honestly, I love his directing. Now he's not directing this one. This one's being directed by Gavin O'Connor. So I don't really offhand know much that he directed. I think he was a producer on the last one, and then also produced Warrior, which is one of my favorite um, sports movies of all time,
Hmm.
honestly. And actually, now I just pulled it up. He actually did direct Warrior, so that's pretty good. Pretty good. Uh, Little feather in his cap. So we'll see. And he's directed. So like I said, he directed the last one, and then he's directing this one, and he also directed The Way Back, which was another Ben Affleck. So he's used to working with Ben Affleck.
Hmm.
That The Way Back did not get great reviews. I didn't get to check that one out. It just wasn't one that was really screamed I should watch. But anyway, I'm excited for The Accountant too. But we'll have to see. We'll see what this year holds and how much we get to the cinemas.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Not one that I anticipate going to, but you never know. Sometimes you get invited somewhere and you're like, you know what, might as well. So
Yeah, I would honestly love to get to the theater at least once a month
mhm.
coming up, and it's definitely going to happen during the summer
Yes,
because we have so
yes.
many movies dropping that I'm very excited to watch. But currently, I'm not there.
Yeah.
There is one more movie I wanted to mention, just strictly because it does look like a little bit of a, I don't know, an off the cuff one, and that is Neighborhood Watch. And that's when a mentally ill young man thinks he witnesses an abduction. The police refuse to believe him, and then he reluctantly turns to his next door neighbor, a bitter retired security guard, to help him find this missing woman. Now, the mentally ill child is Jack Quaid, who
Okay.
is very good, super solid. And then the or the old grumpy neighbor is Jeffrey Dean Morgan. So,
Also, I love that cast. Yeah.
yeah, buddy cop between Jack Quaid and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Kind of in like an odd thriller, searching for maybe or maybe not I a kidnapped woman. That just like that screams like, okay, make Sleeper good movie. So I
And
don't know. I haven't heard anyone talking about this.
he was just in, what was that movie called where it was like called Novocaine or something like that?
Yeah, which got great
Jack Quaid.
reviews.
It very good reviews. So he could be due a little bit of a hot stretch in his career too. Again, another one of those actors that I feel like hasn't really gotten the appreciation they probably deserve. But you start having a few movies that people really enjoy. Maybe it starts with Novocaine. Maybe this one ends up being a big hit, and then he can kind of get his way into that household name, and then eventually he ends up in a Marvel movie. So,
Well, he's already been in a Marvel movie.
oh, that's true. He has, hasn't he? I
He
just
was
now
in
realized that.
Yeah, he voiced Spider-Man from Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
So,
he was in Oppenheimer, and he's massive in The Boys, and then he voices Clark
yeah,
Kent in My Adventures with Superman. So he is definitely on a hot streak right now.
yeah.
And I think, like you said, like his movie lead uh hot streak may be coming here. I'm excited to see how this one goes for him. So but anyway, that's all the movies we have for this upcoming month. Is there one that you're looking for more than the others?
No, I don't think so. I think these are all movies that I think would be an enjoyable, fun watch. I just don't see myself, killing myself trying to get to the movie theaters to watch them, especially with how much we do have coming up in the next couple months. I do think this is a very solid month though for like what's the word? Kind of like the opening for like a band. What is that called?
Uh, yeah, opener.
Yeah, like the openers. I feel like this is a great like that leading up for the couple of months that we do have coming with, we're going to get into Thunderbolt soon. We have Superman, we have Fantastic Four. This is a very solid month in regards to what we have coming, I think.
Oh yeah, great primer for the summer. We're gonna have I dude, this year is going to be stellar for movies, and I think it's gonna be stellar for shows as well. So
Yeah, I think so.
and
I think we've already. I mean, even if we didn't get any more shows for the rest of the year, think about the start that we had to the year. It'd already be a pretty solid one, and we still have some awesome shows coming out in the future. So, yeah, I think this is a very this is a contender for probably one of the best entertainment years we've had in quite some time.
yeah, and I would agree with that. Now, I did want to touch on the shows real quick. Not too massive. I don't want to. There's obviously more shows than what we're mentioning coming out, but pretty much only two that we're going to be watching, unless somebody reaches out and is like, "Hey, we would really like you guys to check this one out." But for those shows, the first one is obviously we're getting Andor season 2, which I am just absolutely pumped out of my mind for. That drops on April 22nd. So near the end of the month, Andor season 2 is. Jacob, let's talk about how excited you are for this.
Yeah, this is like peak Star Wars television. It's the Star Wars show that even if you don't like Star Wars, I think you'll enjoy. And everything that we've seen from the trailers, the little sneak peeks and previews that we've gotten for it, it looks like it is just going to be another phenomenal show. I'm super excited to see. The biggest thing for me is how are they going to handle the episodes being like done the way they are with what is it, every episode or every couple episodes represents like so many years. I'm super interested to see how that actually plays out. Do we feel like we're rushing too much, or does it feel really well paced? And I just love the characters. I think they are some of my favorite Star Wars characters that we've had in recent history because they not only are great actors. We're talking about I just lost his name, Diego Luna. I mean, fantastic actor, but they feel like Star Wars characters, and they do such a good job with that, making the world feel like Star Wars. So I'm pumped for this one. I think it's just going to be an absolute big hit. I could see this one being nominated for tons of awards again, like the season one was, and I'm stoked for it.
Yeah. I I couldn't echo that sentiment anymore. I do kind of worry about every 2 episodes being a decade, I believe is what, or
It's
3 years
along
maybe.
yeah, it's a few. I forget exactly what the wording is, but kind of the same thing I was saying.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit worried about that, but other than that, I'm just excited for it. I'm gonna try to get Chelsea to watch the first season coming up, and that's we'll see if she listens. If she will watch it, it's a lot of time,
It is.
but I would really like to rewatch the first season before jumping into this because it is just so good, and I haven't got to rewatch that show. And usually I do rewatch shows. I have with so much content that we've been watching, that has not been a reality for me here of late. It's just kind of the stage of life that I'm in with watching and consuming less content than I used to. More responsibilities at home, at church, and at work. It just kind of that kind of stuff fades away a little bit,
For
but
sure.
I would really like to kind of try to get that one down.
I had seen a couple weeks ago someone said if you started watching like one episode um every week or something like that, it would lead you right into it. And that's the closest I came to rewatching it. Because I was like, oh, that seems kind of manageable. And then lo and behold, we're less than 3 weeks away from it, and I haven't watched it at all. So clearly, I did not follow the planning that everyone else did watch. But yeah, I think this is just going to be absolutely awesome.
Yeah. And then something else that I think is going to be absolutely awesome is The Last of Us season 2.
Mhm.
Now, there is a little bit of hesitation I have for this one, but Jacob, do you have anything going into this one that's dropping on April 13th? So that is just a week and a day out.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm so stoked for this one. I'm excited more so because obviously I've played the games and stuff. I'm really excited for people that haven't played the games to kind of get to experience this story in a little bit of a different way, because obviously they're not one to one. There's a lots of things that happen in the game that don't happen in the show. I did realize after I watched season 1 of the show that the game does a lot of things a little bit different. So I'm curious to see what things they do change in season 2. I'm sure they're going to take some liberties and make some things a little bit different, because obviously you can't make a one-to-one show with the game because it wouldn't make sense. I mean, why do you want to watch someone go collect cans or something like that? Like, you don't want to watch that. So I'm excited to see, though, the actual important story points that do change, like they did some of them in season 1 of the show. But I'm pumped. I think it's going to be really good. Like I said, I'm more so excited to kind of see how everyone else reacts that hasn't played the game, because I know there's a ton of people out there like that, and you're one of them. So I'm really excited to see what you think of it after we get rolling into this second season.
Yeah, we definitely have. We're gonna have two different opinions going into this. The trailers have me a little worried how much they're going to focus on the relationship for the lead, which is what it is. I know it's just the age that we live in, but I can still disagree with it, and I can still not love it. So that's my only worry with the show that I see coming up.
Yeah, which is something I did warn you when you started getting into the first season. I did
Y-
say, hey, it does get a little bit out there come season 2. Um, but yeah, I think you'll still be able to enjoy it. We still do have a really great cast of people. I think the characters are still really fun to watch and kind of see the story develop, because I think it's a really cool world that they've shaped and made things happen in, and it's just a fun concept. So I think either way, you can disagree like we're going to with those things. I think you can still find some stuff that you will enjoy in it, though.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a more mature show, so it's not
Mhm.
catered to children, which does help. uh, Honestly, when there is supposed to be that guard between it, I when you deal with more mature content, I do appreciate that instead of forcing it down children's throat.
100%.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much all we have coming out for April. I am I'm excited for this month. It's going to be a good month both theatrically and then also for shows in my opinion. So, I'm ready to watch them. But without that, do you
Yeah.
got anything else you want to talk about before we jump into Daredevil?
Well, I do think it's something to bring up, something that has already come out this month that has absolutely blown my mind with the amount of money it has made already, and it's getting terrible critics reviews, but it seems like the fans are really enjoying it. And that's the Minecraft movie. I don't know if you've heard too much about it, but I heard it was one of like Warner Brothers' largest releases in quite some time now. It seems to be really killing it. I don't know if you've
Really?
seen some of the,
I haven't
yeah, it's
seen any of like anything positive from it.
I think they've already, I might be incorrect about the exact, but I think I recently saw opening weekend they made 300 million, which is crazy for this movie. I did not expect it to do that.
No way.
Um, yeah, so apparently that's been a pretty big hit. People are really enjoying it. It feels like one of those movies that's kind of got like a cultish vibe to it, that people are kind of just going to the theaters to watch it to say they watched it, and to kind of mess and joke with the story and the things that we've been getting from it. But yeah, I think that's a very interesting point. I keep seeing people make posts about like, why are we going to the theaters for this movie when all these other really great movies get no one to show up? But lo and behold, this movie that's not very good is getting all this money and all these people to show up. So I think that's kind of funny. It kind of also does show the world in which we live, that people are more excited to go watch like a meme movie than an actual good movie. But I did think that would be worth something to bring up.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for drawing this to my attention. I forgot this came out. I care so little about it. But
Yeah.
it got a 6.1 on IMDb currently, which is,
Yep.
it's not as pathetic as we kind of would have assumed,
Yeah.
honestly, from watching the trailers. The problem is it has 12,000 10-star reviews, which like dwarfs any other like stat when you're
Yeah.
looking at like the review. Like it's like, oh, you got 1,009s, 3,008s, 12,010s, and then you also have like 3,001s. It's it's kind of perfect deviation for almost like a sub 5.5, and then the tens are just ridiculous. So there is a
Yeah.
ton of people like memeing
Just
this
voting
movie's
for
the
it.
best.
We're seeing the opposite of what we saw with Acolyte, right? We saw a lot of people just review bombing Acolyte, whether you thought it was a one or not. Obviously, we saw like just a crazy amount of hate watching for the Acolyte. This is like the opposite. We're seeing a lot of like, I don't even know what you would call the opposite of hate watching.
It's so
But I
bad
do
it's
have
good.
It's so bad it's good. I do have it pulled up here. So, opening weekend, it was 163 million U.S. Canada opening, and then 150.7 million abroad to bring us to a total of 313.7 million worldwide opening weekend, which is crazy. I think I saw this movie had a $150 million budget, so they're well on pace. I'm sure after marketing and all that stuff, because they did market the heck out of this movie. So if
Oh,
that
it
shows
was
anything, maybe
everywhere.
it was everywhere. So maybe that shows a little bit of what the power of marketing, that they were able to get all these people to show up to this movie. But I did think it was something kind of funny to hint on, a movie that we both thought was going to be terrible and probably is, still having a really great box office.
And probably is. I love that. No, I definitely appreciate you bringing it up because it's definitely worth talking about. That is so funny. You just kind of love the culture that we live in where this is
Yeah.
kind of the things that happen. Like people can rally behind. They can't even get out the vote, but we're gonna get out and just blow the Minecraft movie to smithereens.
Hey, if with the world in which we live in, if that's what makes you happy, go and do it, man. All the power to you. But I'm not
Yeah.
spending my money to go watch the Minecraft movie. We just got done talking about how we have limited time and all that stuff to go. This is definitely not what I'm going to the movie theaters for. But I will gladly watch it when it does come to streaming. And I think I've said that on here before, that I am actually excited to see how it actually is when it does come to streaming. So yeah, I thought that's hilarious.
Oh, there is no chance I watch this. Even
Well,
when it
I'll
comes to
give my
streaming.
review of it at some point in time in the future, whenever it does come to streaming, because I love these type of movies. They're so funny to me. It's one of those like guilty pleasure things. I love watching movies about like games or concepts or stories that I like just find fun, but I know are going to be terrible. So this will definitely be what I'm excited to watch. So I'll give my review in the future. So stay tuned for that.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That's wild. 313 million. Wow, it's mind blowing. Uh,
I guess
it's
Jack
kind of
Black still got it,
depressing.
man. I guess he's like The Rock, dude. You just put him in a movie and you'll get a few people to show up.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, and Jason Momoa, I think he has some of that star power.
Yeah,
Currently.
for sure, for sure.
But anyway, Daredevil episode 7. What are you thinking, Jacob? How does it feel?
Yeah, I'm still. I think we definitely talked pretty negatively. I think about the show last time we were on the podcast, and I don't want anybody to get the idea that we aren't enjoying it. And I hope in that podcast that we did at least get that point across. That hey, we are still enjoying it. We do still are excited to watch the next episode. This one continues to be a step in the right direction, but I almost just still feel with this show that like I almost need another 10 minutes of show. I almost just need a little bit more to really get us to where I feel like a good stopping point would be. I think this one's done a better job of it, and I really did enjoy this last episode. So it's almost there. I just wish we would get a few more minutes, maybe tie up a few little more things before the next episode starts. And I also think it's important to know, I believe this last episode was the last episode that was like fully written and developed and recorded and all that stuff by the previous team before all the rewrites started. So I think these next two episodes are supposed to be like the heavily rewritten episodes. So I'm interested to see if we notice a difference in the storytelling, maybe in the you know the directing of it all, the shots that we get and stuff like that. That's the thing I'm most excited for moving forward, is how much liberties did the new team come in and actually change.
I'm going to be honest. We're going to need to see quite a bit of change for me. I know you just said like, hey, I don't want y'all to think we're not enjoying it. There's part of me that's not enjoying this film, this
Mm-hmm.
show. Like it feels almost as if it's written by AI. Like it's like people thought that they knew how people feel, but they don't quite understand how to put it into words. Like yeah, you put all the ingredients that should be good. It's like, yeah, that's a good ingredient. That's a good ingredient. That's a good ingredient, but you just didn't quite cook it right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I this last fight with full spoilers for Daredevil episode 7. I don't really know how to talk about this episode without kind of spoiling it. But we get to see like him kind of jumping back into it, and he just seems to have no hesitation. It's almost like it was just like a flip and a switch, and he's just like back full into it. When he's talking to his private PI, and he's like, you came to me for help, and it's like I feel like if the man who hung it up so drastically for a year would have had a little bit more reservation about coming back. Like, yeah, I came back and we got the moment where he drops the F bomb and he says, F it, I'm back, baby, essentially in episode, and that's episode 6. But, I feel like for a character to have the development to hang up the mask that he's been doing for so long, there would still be a little bit of hesitation to putting the suit back on. Do you feel that, or do you feel like they kind of handled it the way they kind of should?
I feel like they did kind of handle it in a way that I don't really have a problem with because I think they've been hinting at it so much in the last few episodes. We kind of get to see that little taste of it that he has. I believe it's in episode 2 or maybe episode 3 when the cops come to try and get the guy that was like the only witness of what happened to White Tiger. He beats up some guys there. He might regret it a little bit, but he gets that taste of it. And we kind of see that throughout a lot of this one. We see him kind of have like the snap moment on Punisher, on Frank Castle, where he does hit him after Punisher kind of pushing him. And it feels like he's been walking this line for a really long time. We definitely see it in the bank scene where he fights the guy in the staircase. So I don't necessarily have as big of a problem with kind of him just being like, I'm back. Because it's one of those things, I kind of liken it to, when you're like addicted to something, right? You might go for a while without, doing it. Soda, I love soda, right? I'll tell myself, hey, I'm not going to drink soda for a week, right? I'll do really great for that week. And I'll be like, oh, you know what? I did great for this week, so I'm going to drink one. And then before you know it, I'm back to having like one every couple days or something like that. And that's kind of what I like in his character development too, is he's kind of been walking that line for a really long time. Yeah, he's been able to tell himself no so many times, but he finally just got pushed over that edge. And then once he finally said, okay, I'm going to do it, he just said, forget everything else that I've done. I'm fully back in it. So I kind of understand it, but I guess if that's not a storyline you were wanting, I can understand your frustration with it and kind of wishing he was a little bit more hesitant. I think something that would have helped me with that is if he would have been the one that had the opportunity to kill Muse, because we do see him getting to the point where you think he's going to have to kill this guy. If he doesn't kill him, he's going to kill, I forget what his girlfriend's name is. Somebody's going to die here. And the fact that she was the one to, deal that final blow to shoot him like that, I really wish we'd have got to see Daredevil get to the point where he had to make that decision on if he is going to fully go back to what he was. So I understand where you're coming from, but for me personally, I didn't mind it as bad when I thought of it the way I did.
Yeah, it just kind of makes for me the only reason I have the complaint because I don't want him. Anyone who's heard me talk about this knows that I don't want him to be weak. Like I don't want him
Yeah.
to not be Daredevil. Like I want him to be Daredevil. But you gave us a 5 episode long him not being Daredevil. And then it just seems like they're like, "Oh yeah, all that was for naught. Like there's no issues at all with it." And it's like, just kind of feel like there was a little bit of a miscue here. And then I don't know. How did you feel about the fight? Because I honestly, I'm a little negative after this last one. I'm very I'm very upset with what we're getting, and I know that. So I kind of want to see like what did you feel about the fight between him and Muse?
So my biggest complaint with the fight between him and Muse, and I know they did try to give us the backstory of Muse being like a martial arts expert and all that stuff, but I just don't like the fact that it really was as close of a fight as it was. That Muse kind of had the upper hand on him a lot of the time, and I do understand Daredevil is in a position where he's also trying to protect somebody else, so it is another thing that he's having to worry about, and maybe sometimes that can take you off your game when you're not fully devoted to just the fist fight in front of you. But that was kind of my biggest complaint is I kind of wanted to see him just get on with it, take care of Muse. We've kind of known this whole season that Muse is not the in-game villain for the show. We know Kingpin and him are coming to a head, whether we see them fight or something along those lines. We'll have to wait and see. That was more so my biggest complaint is I didn't like the way that they tried to make Muse feel like a formidable foe for Daredevil. But I did think that the choreography throughout the fight wasn't terrible. I obviously think that it's been a letdown as far as choreography goes when you talk about like, the first season of Daredevil on Netflix and all that stuff. We've even talked about that it doesn't feel quite to that level, and it feels like they've done a lot of things to try to replicate that. We talk about in episode 1 the stairway scene between Daredevil and Bullseye. you clearly know what they're trying to do. You know, they're trying to get us back into that old Daredevil vibe. You know, we have one of the coolest fight scenes we've ever seen in Marvel, and they just didn't execute well on it. And that's kind of what I felt with this fight as well. Is there are some cool aspects of it, but it just doesn't feel like they're really hitting the nail on the head with what we're actually wanting.
Yeah, the choreography is atrocious. Like honestly, it's so bad. And I don't feel like he had the upper hand. And when I watched the fight, because I watched it right before we hopped on here, I was kind of looking at it. Honestly, I mean, Daredevil is beating the mess out of that dude. Like Heather did not need to shoot him at all. There was no call for that. Uh, Daredevil had it handled. He shot his grappling hook
Oh,
through
I did love
his
that. That was
through
awesome.
right where kind of his heart goes.
Yeah,
Like,
that was awesome.
and then Muse is just fighting as if he didn't get punctured
Mhm.
with with a grappling hook. Like it went through the man. Uh, and then Daredevil's just like beating the mess out of this dude. And the reason I have a problem with the choreography is not really what is happening in the fight, but the fact that there's 75 cuts every minute. Like we barely can have a punch thrown without them cutting to the other side of the punch thrown.
Mhm.
And it looks awful. Like if you think about like the greatest fights that there are, usually it's one shot, usually it's back and forth, very stylized, very lets you sit in the action. There is not sitting with a single action thrown. Grappling hook through the stomach, cut to the back. Punch thrown, Daredevil screams, cut to his face, cut back down to the thing. And it's like, what in the world is going on? Like, why can't we just let the camera roll? Was it this bad? Because we know Charlie Cox is fantastic in the suit. So I really
Yeah.
think that whoever cut this last one, and I hope you're right. I hope the next two that we can see the drastic difference to
Mhm.
someone who knows what they're doing shooting action as to what we've gotten here. But man, the action looks so bad.
Yeah, that's kind of my biggest hope is where I had mentioned that we are getting that new writing team and stuff for these last two episodes, and then obviously into season two. I think that was obviously the thing that we heard the most about when the reviews and like the previews for this were coming out and people were getting those, early looks at the show is like Daredevil really isn't a big part of it. We do go those episodes where he's not there. You just kind of see him, fighting with the idea of going back into it. I think these next two episodes are going to be like heavy Daredevil, which I think will help you and hopefully get you back into it a little bit more. Because that's got to be the thing that they came in and rewrote. Like that is the only thing that really makes sense. I don't see them doing it as long as they have. And I know this was supposed to be like, was it supposed to be an 18 season or 18 episode season one, and then they decided to cut it into two separate seasons. So
Yes.
there is still some concern that this one maybe doesn't pick up as much as we wanted to. Maybe they didn't come in early enough to completely rewrite everything really the way they wanted to. But hopefully these next two episodes are those heavy Daredevil episodes.
Yeah. And hopefully, I think we're definitely going to see Dex Poindexter get back as Bullseye in
Mm-hmm.
these next two. I think that's the storyline that they're going to pick back up with. I don't know, Wilson Fisk, man. I will give the props here. It does seem like they gave Wilson Fisk some brains in this last one, and he actually did see something coming and stopped it from happening. With Vanessa trying to execute him.
I love that scene too. So good.
So okay, so I love it from a Kingpin
Mm-hmm.
viewpoint. I do not love it from Vanessa. Like I don't understand what character they were going for. Like do you understand like the differences from the last three seasons we had in Netflix to this? Like she is a different person. This is not the
Yeah,
same Vanessa.
I think this was one of those things that is which you hate when the things happen off camera, right? We didn't really get to see her life after everything happened with Kingpin in a way. We obviously get to see that all the thugs love her. Like, she's making more money than Kingpin ever did for them. And I think she's kind of bought into the idea that she is just a better leader and that she could have everything that she's wanted and was doing such a good job of doing. And I think that's kind of where we're seeing this. You kind of see that little interaction. I think the character's name might be Luke or Luca or something. Lucas. I forget exactly what his
Yeah,
name is.
Lucas.
Lucas. They have that conversation under like I guess it's like a bridge or something. And he kind of does get her to like think that she is the one that should be in charge, and it shouldn't be Wilson Fisk. He shouldn't have been able just to come right back in and take control of everything. So I understand it a little bit, but I think it's one of those things that we didn't get to see that character develop on camera, which can hurt a little bit. But I do really like you said, they did give him the brains. I love the scene where he walks in there. He has his back turned to the door. It almost looked like he's about to get shot, but he's not going to die. And I was like, I really hope that doesn't happen. I hope they don't think he's dead and
Again,
he just magically, yeah. I love that he did have a guy waiting there to shoot whoever came in after him. I thought that was awesome, and it was a really great way to end the episode. And I really like what they've done with Kingpin this season. I think he's been very menacing in a way that Kingpin should be, right? He does kind of portray like he might be a good guy. Maybe he is trying to make the city better. But then you get to that episode where you know he's just a terrible person. And I think they've done a really great job with that. So I did appreciate that scene, but I can understand that kind of character change that we have gotten not making a ton of sense with what we had in the previous Daredevil seasons.
yeah, and that's like my biggest problem with it. I'm fine if you like, man, she was so devoted to him, like
Mm-hmm.
so devoted to him, fully in, bought into the idea of who he was and what they were going to do. And then this season we just pop in and she's like, all that stuff, forget it. Like that's not actually, I don't really feel that way anymore. And it just like kind of blows my mind that that's the decision they made for her. And it's so unneeded. Like it's a terrible plot line in this, in my opinion. Like we did not need her to turn on Wilson Fisk for this. Like the him becoming mayor, everything that's going on there, like all of that was plenty enough. Like we did not need her to turn on him. And I just don't quite understand what they were thinking and why they did that.
I am interested to see how far he lets her go. Like, will he get to the point where he kills her? Which I think would be a really crazy scene and a really crazy plot point for Kingpin. And I kind of hope it does get to that point where he's just like, you know what? I'm sick of everybody that is not 100% devoted to me. And I'm excited to see where that storyline does go. It has been kind of an interesting plot point because you knew she was kind of going to do that. This whole season, she's kind of been like not necessarily happy when they're going to the counseling and stuff like that. She's really not really open to trying to fix their relationship. And I think this is another great job that they did with Kingpin. It almost does feel like he does want to make it better. So I'm excited to see though what we actually do get from this plot point.
Yeah, because it's got to pay off somehow, or
Yeah,
else there's zero point to do it. Which there may be, it may not pay off, but
yeah.
I think he will kill her, and that makes the only sense to me. Like the only way this makes sense is if he does kill her.
The really thing I want to see, which I don't think this is going to happen, I kind of want to see him put her in. Is it Adam? Is that the guy he has
Yeah,
captured in the
Adam.
cage? I kind of want him to say, like, give them both a weapon and whoever win walks. Like, I think that would be like the most Kingpin esque thing to do. He betrays her and telling him that he has no idea where he is, he hasn't seen him. And then all of a sudden, it's do or die. One of you walks out of here, and obviously, we know he's not going to let either of them walk. But that would just be such a menacing thing for Kingpin to do. That's kind of like the hope I have for it because I think it would just be a very interesting plot point. But yeah, no, I
Didn't
agree with what you're saying. I just think they could do some things with it that make it kind of interesting and fun for the Kingpin character.
didn't they kill Adam? Didn't Kingpin
I
kill
don't
Adam?
I don't think he died. I think in that scene he is like still breathing. He just got
Okay.
pretty messed up. Um, But if he is dead, I think that kind of speaks to maybe some of the problems with the show. That's not clear, you know. So,
Yeah.
um,
I thought they were
but
showing that he killed him.
see, I thought that was the whole reason he dragged him back into the cellar was because
Ah,
he's like leaving
that
him
could
to
be true.
like, yeah. But
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, dude. If they do what you just said and he gives them an ultimatum to kill one or the other,
yeah,
wow. That would be wild. I
that'd
think
be cool.
Vanessa would kill him in a heartbeat though.
Oh, I do too.
She's
Yep,
cold-blooded, dude.
yep. Adam would be a little bit hesitant, but that is the fun thing though. Is Adam is like he probably wants out desperately. You know, would it be one of those things where he kind of uses it to make a point that like no matter how much you love somebody, they can change due to their circumstances. That's just like there's so many cool things you can do with Kingpin, and I feel like they've done a decent job with him. I just wish they utilized him in those ways a little bit more.
Yeah, I do too. But most anticipated show of the year has let me down, man. That's all right.
Well, give it.
That's honestly why as almost annoyed with it as I am, is because I wanted greatness and I'm just not getting it.
Yeah,
I
well,
think
it's
it's
also
fine.
tough too. I think it's also tough if you think about it. Like, what did we just got done with Invincible, which was just awesome, right? Like, really have hardly any complaints with the season. Um, and I can understand like coming off of that and then thinking like, oh, this is my most anticipated show. It's really hard to follow up something like that. So like I said, I'm still enjoying it. I am interested to see how it ends. But I think for you, I understand it because you definitely like Daredevil as a character more than I do. I think you've even did you put him in your top 3 Marvel characters?
He's not my top three, but he's up there.
Okay. I think maybe you said he might have been an honorable mention or something like
Yeah,
that.
Punisher
Um,
is. It's Punisher,
Punisher, maybe that's what I was
Wolverine, and
thinking.
Iron Man.
Yeah, so I can understand being a little bit more frustrated, but where I'm not like as big of a fan, and I did enjoy the Netflix stuff, but definitely not as much as you did. I've probably been a little bit more willing to look past some of the things than you've been able to.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I've watched the Daredevil show in its entirety 3 times, and I think I've
Mhm.
watched the first season at least 5.
Yeah, which is way more than me. I've only ever watched it once, so
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. I guess we'll see how this goes. Something else that I'm excited to see how it goes is I'm gonna call it when this releases. Florida Gators are the national champions of March Madness. This is a future prediction. They're gonna beat the mess out of Houston, probably. I'm gonna say by 8 to 12 points.
okay. You gonna put an actual point number on it?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go. I don't think their defense is gonna hold up. I'm gonna say 85-77.
Okay. We'll have to follow up. When is that game? Is
Yeah,
that this upcoming weekend?
it comes out in 50 minutes.
Oh, it's tonight.
Yeah.
Why did I think next week? Well, I goes to show I don't keep up with college basketball. So,
Oh, it's always
um,
on Monday night, which is wild.
I don't know why I thought it was a weekend thing. You would think they'd want to stretch that out a little farther, give us one more week of it, build up more hype for it. Um,
I've always
but yeah,
wondered why in the world is it on a Monday night,
on
but it
Monday.
always is.
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of like the Super Bowl too, if you think about it. Like obviously Sunday night, like it's a football thing, but it would be so much better if they had something like that on a Saturday because everyone's got to get up for work the next day, all that stuff. So I think they might probably would honestly get more views if they did it on like a Saturday night, but there's probably some market analytics behind that would definitely tell us otherwise.
Yeah. Somebody gets paid way more than me to figure that crap out.
Yep. Yep.
So, but anyway, hey guys, let us know who you're pulling for or who you were pulling for in the national championship. Are you enjoying Daredevil? What's your most anticipated thing for April? Let us know on Instagram. Hit us up on X or even on the Discord. We'd love to get some more activity in there. Pop in there, see some rankings, drop a chat, give us something to review, something to rate, and we'll hit you back. So thanks for listening to this one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a review, subscribe, share it with a friend, give it to a messenger pigeon, send it on its way, and, drop off a little USB drive for somebody else to listen that isn't as fortunate to have internet access. So, thank you guys for all of that. And we'll catch you next week with another episode of